One of the things you were involved in back in the last decade,
yes,
was the Government Study Committee.
Absolutely. What a great experience that
was. Says he with a smile.
No, it was. I learned so much during that. 2 years, from 2005 to 2007, we had 64 meetings. I chaired the committee. I attended every one of those meetings. I did the minutes for some of them. All that work, by the way, is still on our website, actgovstudy.org. And we interviewed selectmen, town manager, we interviewed people up and down, we pulled together all sorts of things. We had 9 warrant articles put on the warrant.
What was that, 2008?
7. 07, yeah. And the warrant articles, I forget, I think there were 7 of them, and I think 2 of them passed. But the main work that we did there were 33 other recommendations that we made to the town manager, board of selectmen, that didn't need to have a warrant article. Out of those 33 items, 30 of them now have been implemented by the town. So that's something I'm personally very...
I was not aware. I don't think anybody's aware of that, really.
Well, exactly. And that's why when you look down our list, things like we're very strongly in favor of the PEG channel, for example. And we felt that, in terms of government and, broadcasting meetings and all that sort of thing. Other procedures within the town. All the little things that make government work a little bit better. That's what these things.
Can you give us a couple of specific examples besides the PEG channel?
Gosh, boy. There was about committees. We felt that there should be a brochure for every. There are 340 some people that volunteer on all the range of committees, commissions, boards, etc. for the town. But there was no guideline for them, so we felt that there should be a guideline. Town manager then took about a year and a half, but now there is a booklet, so every committee member, as they get onto a committee, gets this booklet, the guidelines for it. There are a couple of other things with regard to committees in terms of mission statements, reporting to the Board of Selectmen, and so on. Again, to sort of tighten up the structure that were approved. So it was things like that. The last portion of the final report that we did, and again, the final report is still on our website, lists the other alternatives to the open town meeting, because that's originally what we started out looking at. Open town meeting, as we know, isn't a terribly efficient way to run a government. Town meeting is the legislative body. Meets once a year, they make all the financial decisions for the coming year, and you wouldn't run a business that way. I mean, you
can't run a business that way.
Exactly.
I can speak from experience.
Yeah, precisely. And it doesn't make a lot of sense in terms of running a government, too, as well as you well know, and as anybody who's been involved with the government knows. That there are all sorts of challenges to having that. However, given the historical significance, going back to the Mayflower Compact and self-government and all that sort of thing, we like the idea of it. What we do, we took a look at the different potential forms: a mayor-council form, a representative town meeting form, and virtually all the different possibilities you could have in terms of government structure. And we didn't make a recommendation for town meeting because we didn't feel enough preparation had been done. To make a change like this, you need to have community input. You need to have a year or two of education as to what the choices are, and you have to get the people behind it.
Wasn't this all supposed to be revisited again?
Yes, that was one of the warrant articles that was passed. Every 5 years they were supposed to do a evaluation. In 2010, then, the first trigger year, they only had 2 applicants for the committee. And as a result, the committee was never formed. I believe in the subsequent years they've tried to get a committee together, and again, there's for lack of interest, perhaps, or lack of whatever. Nobody has signed up for it, so that hasn't happened. I think that I think it would be a good idea to do it again. I mean, I think it's always a good idea to take a look at how government is functioning, what can be done to make it work better.
Just from talking to people, do you sense any change in the level of frustration?
Well, yes and no. I
mean, either way.
Yeah, yeah.
Up or down.
I hear both. I hear people say, my God, how did we get stuck with such a system? I mean, this is no way to run a government. And then other people who say, oh my God, the people have and we hear this at every town meeting, well, it's the people who should decide. In fact, at the last special town meeting, there was one of the selectmen said, take the power away from us because,
that's a whole other subject.
Yeah, a whole other subject. But in terms of how a government is run, I mean, there are a lot of different choices that we have. Is the system that we have efficient? No. As we know, it takes forever to get anything done because of the process that we have to go through. Public hearings and public meetings and this and that and getting input, and then you finally have a whole step of approvals to go through before, final thing happens.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed and see what happens.
Well, take a look at actgovstudy.org, and particularly that last section of it, because it's pretty interesting.
It is. I have looked at it before.
Good.
And as you know, I'm one of the people who thinks that town meeting is an anachronism at this point. And given my experience at the airport, it's been reinforced. So it is no way to run a business.
I think you would have a lot of support.
AllenReinhard, thank you very much. Enjoyed talking to you today.
Dan, it's been a pleasure. Thanks.